Imagine two of the most powerful forces in science fiction going head-to-head: the ruthless Galactic Empire from Star Wars and the relentless Borg collective from Star Trek. It's a dream battle for sci-fi fans, each side capable of wiping out entire civilizations without breaking a sweat. But what happens when these two unstoppable forces clash? At Modern Sci-Fi, we decided to explore this thought experiment. Let's kick things off with the Galactic Empire, one of the most fearsome and recognizable regimes in all of sci-fi. The Galactic Empire, a powerhouse led by Emperor Palpatine after the fall of the Galactic Republic, ruled the galaxy through fear and brutal oppression. With countless planets under its control and a colossal army, the Empire seemed unstoppable. Palpatine, however, was no mere political figure. He was a Sith Lord, wielding the dark side of the Force to crush any opposition. Alongside him stood Darth Vader, leading legions of stormtroopers and starfighters to maintain the Empire's iron grip on the galaxy. The Empire's military might was legendary, embodied by its massive star destroyers and fearsome Death Star. These star destroyers, sleek and triangular, could obliterate entire fleets, while the Death Star, a planet-killing space station, could wipe out a world in a single shot. The sheer power of these weapons made the Empire a terrifying force, able to enforce its rule with unparalleled firepower. Despite this, the Empire wasn't invincible. The Rebel Alliance famously took down 2 Death Stars, showing that even the most imposing regimes have their weaknesses. Yet the Empire's technological supremacy and overwhelming firepower still make it a daunting adversary for any would-be challenger. Now, let's look at the Borg from Star Trek, The Next Generation. If you're not familiar with these guys, let me fill you in. This cybernetic collective, united under a single consciousness, has one goal: assimilate everything in its path. Unlike the Empire, the Borg don't conquer through brute force and armies. Instead, they absorb species, technology, and knowledge into their collective, becoming stronger with each assimilation. Once they target you, escape is nearly impossible. The Borg are relentless. Their ships, the enormous Borg cubes, are nearly indestructible. They regenerate damage, adapt to any weapon, and repair themselves almost instantly. This makes them a unique threat. They not only overcome adversaries, but also absorb them, turning enemies into mindless drones within their hive mind. The Borg's adaptive technology and regenerative abilities create a powerful, self-sustaining force that grows stronger with each conflict. They're like a virus, unstoppable, ever-evolving, and equipped with advanced transwarp and time-travel technology. Yet even the Borg have vulnerabilities. While incredibly adaptable, they require a moment to adjust to new weapons or tactics. Quick, decisive strikes can penetrate their defenses before they adapt, though such windows are fleeting. The Borg's formidable regenerative and adaptive abilities mean that in most situations, they bounce back rapidly from attacks. So now that we know a bit about the Galactic Empire and the Borg, let's pit their fleets against each other. Both sides bring some seriously heavy firepower to the table, but how do they compare? The Galactic Empire brings massive star destroyers to the table, which are essentially flying fortresses packed with heavy cannons, squadrons of TIE fighters, and enough weaponry to overwhelm most foes. The Death Star itself could obliterate entire planets at the push of a button. On the other hand, the Borg deploy massive, resilient cubes built to withstand almost any assault. These cubes regenerate and adapt to threats, countering attacks by learning and evolving in real time. Now let's talk about the tech. The Empire has some of the most devastating weapons in the galaxy. We've already covered the Death Star, but even beyond that, their star destroyers, blasters, and TIE fighters give them a powerful advantage. And then there's the dark side of the Force, an unpredictable and dangerous weapon in the hands of Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader. The ability to use the Force, manipulate objects, and even crush entire armies with dark side powers is something no one should underestimate. Palpatine's Force powers are tremendous, but the Borg's technology is nothing to scoff at. While they don't have planet-destroying superweapons, their tech is advanced in a different way. The Borg don't just use weapons, they become the weapons. With their nanoprobes, they can assimilate technology and biological beings, adapting on the fly to any challenge. What's even scarier is their ability to regenerate and adapt. The longer they're in battle, the stronger they become. So it's an interesting clash. Brute force and firepower versus adaptability and relentless assimilation. Could the Empire overwhelm the Borg with their superior weapons? Or would the Borg's ability to adapt to the Empire's attacks give them the edge? It's a tough call, but one thing is for sure. This would be a battle for the ages. A crucial part of any battle is leadership. And here, we have two very different styles. On one side, we have Emperor Palpatine, the dark mastermind behind the Empire. Palpatine is a Sith Lord, controlling the galaxy with fear and deception. He's a master of manipulation, pulling the strings behind the scenes and using the dark side of the Force to maintain his grip on power. On the other hand, we have the Borg Queen. Unlike Palpatine, who operates as an individual, the Borg Queen is the embodiment of the collective consciousness. She doesn't manipulate individuals the way Palpatine does. Instead, she coordinates the efforts of the entire Borg collective. Every drone, every ship, every decision is part of a single, unified goal: assimilation. The Borg Queen is more like a conductor, orchestrating the collective will of the Borg. So who would win in a battle between the Galactic Empire and the Borg? It's not an easy question to answer, and honestly, it could go either way. In the short term, the Empire's overwhelming firepower and superweapons would give them a strong advantage. A quick and decisive Imperial strike on Unimatrix 1, the Borg homeworld, by the Death Star, Star Destroyers, TIE Fighters, Darth Vader and Palpatine using the Force on Borg drones and the Collective could wipe out the Borg. They could potentially wipe out Borg cubes before the Borg even have time to react. The key to defeating the Borg is a sudden massive onslaught that prevents them from adapting. But in a prolonged conflict, the Borg's ability to adapt, regenerate and assimilate technology could turn the tide. Once the Borg have adapted to the Empire's weapons, they'd become much harder to defeat. And if they manage to assimilate even a small part of the Empire's tech or numerous stormtroopers, they'd use it to become even more powerful. At the end of the day, it's a battle between raw power and relentless adaptability. So what do you think? Would the Empire's might crush the Borg, or would the Borg's collective intelligence and adaptability make them the victors? Duke it out politely in the comments below and follow Modern Sci-Fi for more science fiction content.